This episode of Biters is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Everybody, welcome to Biters. This is Dianne.
And this is Marnell.
The Real Housewives of Alaska, deep in the frigid north.
Yeah, it's like a balmy 50 here. It's ridiculous.
I know, I'm actually being silly too because it's been in the 30s and 40s here, which may sound horrible to some of the people who listen to us, but that's actually really warm for this time of year.
Yeah, like it's hoodie weather here.
It's not quite that here, but we're a little more north.
I think I'm getting acclimated to it too. Like, it's unless it's really windy, it's not as chilly. I took the dogs walking out in the pouring rain the other day. It like they literally like were soaked. And if anybody knows anything about huskies, it is molting season. So I not only had big hair tufts falling out of my dog, but they were big wet hair tufts. So
I bet that smelled wonderful.
My dogs do not smell. Actually, no, the lab kind of smells sometimes. The husky's perfect. He can do no wrong. He's my baby boy.
Oh. So we are here podcasting episode 7 of season 9 of The Walking Dead, Stradivarius.
What did you think?
Well, I honestly thought it was kind of middle booky.
I didn't on the first watch, and then I watched it again, and I went, yeah, there's really not a lot here, is there?
But nonetheless, I liked it.
Yeah, I think because it started out with the whole like Rosita drama, which was very, very engaging for a cold open. And then I had a dog in it, so I'm good.
Except you're going to spend the next how many seasons going, does the dog die?
Don't kill the dog! Yeah. Don't kill the dog!
We're both going to be like that. It's going to be horrible.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Was it a Belgian Malinois? Is that what it looked like?
Yes.
Okay.
Malinois? Is that how you say it?
Malinois, yeah.
And I kind of maintained that 8 years into the apocalypse, there would be no pure breeds. They would all be mutts. But anyway, right?
You're probably right. So maybe it's just showing the best characteristics of a Malinois.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a beautiful dog.
Yeah. It's a very beautiful dog.
They are commonly used as police dogs.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. I've got a friend who's training one as a service dog.
Yeah, they're super smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, how did you rate this episode?
I rated it 4 kids with kazoos.
Oh, that is so funny. I rated it 4 out of 5 overly loud kazoos.
Oh, that's awesome. My backup ones were Paisley Shirt and Murdered Instruments.
Drapey Snake was my backup.
Oh, yeah, that was Snake Snack. I love that.
So the numbers for this week, I do have live plus same day for this episode. It was 4.79 million. So a little bit less than previous weeks, but kind of hanging in there around that 5 million that we figure we're going to be at.
Right. And like we always say, Nielsen ratings aren't what they used to be.
Well, and I have been watching to see if there are any DVR numbers for the Rick finale episode, and so far I have not run into any. So I'm still watching.
Interesting. Yeah, a lot of people watching it online nowadays.
Yeah, I think so too. I honestly, after this season, we may go to AMC Premiere and let cable go because it's just so expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. Either that or do what you're doing and get iTunes.
Yeah. So I pay for the package for cable phone and internet, and our internet is high speed internet for gamers and stuff like that. And we have to have a home phone with this stupid package. And
Right. Us too.
We don't pay for premium channels unless like Game of Thrones is on. But my cable phone and internet is $300 a month.
My cell phone, cable, and internet comes to, holy cow, $550 a month? No, $500 a month.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, our cell phones are through a separate carrier because the cable phone internet provider here sucks for their reception for cell phones. So we go through AT&T.
Yeah, we're still using AT&T as well because they have the best coverage up here.
Yeah. And, you know, AT&T has their whole, like, you can get TV on demand and stuff. That may be something to look into.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'll probably end up just doing AMC Premiere or doing iTunes.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've talked about BritBox, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you should totally go on to just like BritBox.com, I think. Just Google BritBox. And I kind of wanted BritBox now. It's only like $6.99 or $6.95 a month, and you can actually do it like you don't need the actual box.
I was going to say I'm trying to cut costs, not add costs.
I went through their list of shows and movies, and I was like, I need to see that. I need to see that. I need to start watching that. I want to see that. It like the stuff just looks amazing.
Great. So you're making the list even longer.
I am, but I'm expanding out. Like I've never really considered any European shows to be that great. You know, the standard has always been, you know, Hollywood, California. And they are making better and better stuff every year all across the world. I mean, Sweden, the UK, like everywhere.
I'm just going to say apologies to our UK listeners now.
Why?
Because, it just sounded so American. I've always considered Hollywood, California to be the standard.
Yeah. We make all the blockbusters and stuff.
No,
but like BritBox, I'm looking back at some of like even the older stuff. And there, like I've seen some of the stuff. It'll play on PBS every once in a while. So I have seen some. Like I love. Are You Being Served? I think that's the name of it. It takes place in a department store. And then Absolutely Fabulous is funny.
AbFab is really funny.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's been some great stuff, but it was few and far between. But with BritBox, I was like looking at all of this stuff and I'm like, oh my goodness, they've been making great television for years.
There you go. That sounded better.
It's never made it over here, you know?
That was the thing that Victoria's message about the two series that Andrew Lincoln was in that she was recommending kind of drove home for me, is that there's just a lot that we don't see. Yeah,
it just doesn't have the distribution that Hollywood has. So, yeah, I kind of need BritBox now.
Great. Well, I'm trying to cut costs, so I'll probably vicariously live BritBox through you.
I'm trying to do other stuff than watch shows. I really need to like pick up a book or something.
I'm still reading the Peter Meredith books. I'm still enjoying them quite a bit.
Okay, the other half finished it and he loved it. And he also wants to read the stuff from before.
I think I'll probably read those as well.
Yeah. So,
did he finish all 4 in the series?
I'm not sure. So it was like 90% off on Kindle the other day. I think they're listening to us, and so they put it on sale. So it was like 99 cents.
I'm glad that Amazon was paying attention.
Yeah. I don't have an Alexa or a Dot or an Echo or whatever they're called, but I'm pretty sure everything just listens to you now.
It does.
Yeah. Like
I'm sure that there will be an ad for some new zombie series on my iPhone by the time we're done.
I'm sure I'll start getting Facebook feed ads for BritBox.
All right, so back to our episode. So the title, Stradivarius, obviously the violin.
Yes.
Hugely philosophical, and I kind of want to hold off on a title discussion because it's in my good, bad, and ugly.
Yes.
Is that okay?
That is totally fine. I just want to add that the Stradivarius was from 1725, and there were numerous Stradivariuses made by Antonio Stradivari in 1725, but one of them went to Leonardo da Vinci.
Really?
Really?
That's super interesting. You've done your homework. Good for you.
All right.
So the writer... Oh, go ahead.
Nope, go ahead.
I was just going to say the writer is a woman named Vivian Say? I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Tse.
See?
Not sure.
I will bet is she Korean?
I would bet that she is Asian of some extraction, but I do not know.
So, and I know somebody's probably going to be out there yelling that I'm pronouncing it wrong, but there's a really great lager beer, Tsingtao, that I get at one of our local restaurants here, and it starts with a TS, so the T is like almost silent.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So see,
I'm thinking say, but
okay. We'll go with that. Anyway,
she has been an executive story editor this season on episodes 1 through 7, but Stradivarius is her first writing credit for The Walking Dead. And she does not have all that many writing credits to show for her career.
No, she doesn't.
So this is kind of cool that she's leaping off on Walking Dead.
Yeah. She's got some cool miscellaneous crew credits.
Yes, I saw that too. In fact, there was one, and I don't have her IMDb up in front of me, but I was like, ooh, that's kind of cool.
The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
That was it.
Yeah, and The Day After Tomorrow. Yeah. Confessions of a Shopaholic. I love that movie.
Never seen it.
Oh, it's adorable. It's one of those that every time it's on cable, I can't not watch.
And then our director was some guy named Michael Cudlitz. Who's that dude?
No idea. And I really want to know because you know how loose ends are.
What is it about loose ends?
They make your arse itch. I tried to clean it up, Rob. A little difficult with Michael Cudlitz, though.
So I have to say that his line about being dolphin smooth is probably my favorite of the Abrahamisms.
I love why are dingleberries brown? That's the way crap is.
That little synopsis that you sent to me was super funny. You should post that to the website or the Facebook page, rather.
Was it all the top 20 Shakespearean quotes by
Abraham Ford?
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that.
It was great. It was really funny.
What's funny is they were all memes, and if you looked at the credit, it was all Pinterest. So somebody has a Pinterest page of nothing but probably Michael Cudlitz quotes.
That's kind of cool.
Or Abraham Ford as it is.
So I have to say that when I heard he was playing Abraham, I went back and I watched Band of Brothers, and that's truly where I fell in love with him.
You know, Band of Brothers is one that I never watched. I have a hard time watching like real to life war movies, and I don't know what it is. It just, I can watch all of the medical dramas and cop dramas and all that kind of stuff. But for something about like war and soldiers or something, just, I don't know, I have an emotion and I have to turn it off.
Hubby doesn't do World War II stuff very much either. War stuff in general, period. So I watched Band of Brothers on my own. And read the book.
Southland is one of my favorite shows that he is in.
I know, and I've got to watch it. I've watched like the first episode or two, and I just never got into it, and I need to watch it because I really do love Michael Cudlitz.
I really wish they would have continued with it, because it was one of those where he was a training officer.
Yeah.
He was a training officer, and he, it starts out with, he's training a new rookie, and they really could have continued the show without the main characters. They could have, just followed other officers or offered other training officers, or even transferred to different precincts or something like that. They could have continued. It was a great show with or without Michael Cudlitz. I mean, it was just a great show, but his character was amazing. I love how real and how raw his character was and how he played it.
Well, he made it sound like it was an unexpected end. He made it sound like it was something, because they had him on Talking Dead, and he definitely made it sound like it was something where he would have been fine if it had gone on.
Yeah. I really think that it was the network just dropped the ball. I think they got scared off by a couple of low ratings, and they just cut it. And it was one of those that it got cut, and it left you hanging.
That's too bad, because it sounds like it really did have a good following while it was on, not just afterwards, not just after people discovered it after it was cut, like me.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, so this was Michael Cudlitz's directorial debut. He has never directed anything before. And even though it was kind of middle booky, I think it was more the writing and just kind of that need to build up and move the story forward. I definitely don't think it was Michael Cudlitz's directing. I thought it was really great.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of visual scenes, a lot of really cool stuff that in that respect happened this episode. So we will definitely get into that.
Did you notice Josh McDermott complaining that he was that Michael Cudlitz was on set and Josh actually did not get to be directed by him?
Yes.
I thought that was super funny. Yep.
And, Josh McDermott kind of made a joke about it, but I'm like, okay, wait, was that couldn't have been planned? Was that just an accident that, the one episode Eugene's not in that Michael Cudlitz directs?
I don't know. You never know. Yeah. It could have been planned.
Interesting.
So the other thing that I will say about him is he has 111 acting credits on IMDb.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
And now, thanks to The Walking Dead, he has a directing credit.
Yes, his very first directing credit, and hopefully we'll see more.
That's one of the cool things about AMC and The Walking Dead is they are absolutely willing to take a chance on somebody who has never done what they're going to do. Look at all the brand new writers we get. Look at all the brand new directors and, actors, everything.
Well, and it sounds basically when he hired on, he told Scott Gimple, I'm interested in directing. And Gimple said, oh, we'll talk about it.
I kind of also think this may be a sneaky way to, and this is just a total out of left field, this could be a sneaky way of bringing back Andy Lincoln for filming and being like, oh, no, he's directing an episode. That's why he's on set today.
Well, we talked with Tom about that a little bit, but I think the thing is, he's made it really, really, really clear that he is done on the series. And I think that they're going to stick with that.
Never say never.
Yeah, I know, but I think they're going to stick with it. I'm not saying never. I'm saying I think they're going to stick with it.
We'll see how the 3 movies do and where he's at after that and where the show's at. And I could totally see them sneaking him back in for the final half season.
I don't know. I'm going to say no, but I'm not holding to that firmly.
We won't hold our breath.
So the other thing I wanted to say about Michael Cudlitz before we move on is that he is in a new series called The Kids Are All Right. It sounds really funny. It's on ABC, and the description is a pair of working class parents in an Irish Catholic family try to raise their 8 kids during the 1970s.
Wow.
Right?
Huh.
It's like 8 is enough on steroids.
Yeah. I was also kind of thinking maybe like the Wonder Years too.
So anyway, I hate to say it, I probably won't get there just because I'm so bad about watching anything else on TV, but I wanted to put a plug in there for it because it's Michael Cudlitz and I really, really like him.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
the Kids Are All Right, ABC, I want to say it's on Tuesdays. I think that's what he said on The Walking Dead, or on The Talking Dead.
Excellent.
Yeah. And now you have our featured cast.
So I've been practicing saying his name because you know how we like to get names wrong here. And it's spelled Fogler, but it's Fogler?
I think it's Fogler, Dan Fogler.
Dan Fogler, who plays Luke. And a lot of people will also, of course, recognize him in Fantastic Beasts, which the sequel came out to just recently. So he has really, really been in the news. A lot of the stuff surrounds that movie instead of The Walking Dead. So everything that I looked up online for him was like Fantastic Beasts. And I'm like, I don't care.
So I was telling you before we came on that I did watch a very short interview with him. It was about a half an hour interview, and it was nice. The interviewer gave equal time to Fantastic Beasts and to Walking Dead. They talked about both.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was really funny and super cool, and he brought like little gifts for people in the audience who asked questions.
Oh,
yeah, it was really nice.
That was very nice.
Yeah.
He totally seems like a guy you could just hang out with. I have not listened to it, but a lot of my information is from a podcast called Bunny Ears. It looks like a comic book podcast. But yeah, like, I need to listen to it because it sounds super funny. And
so is it just an episode about Walking Dead, or is it?
No. So let's do the standard stuff that we do with the actors and actresses we profile. So
okay.
He has a ton of acting credits, 59 to be exact. The most recent, of course, being Walking Dead and Fantastic Beasts. He has a web page, danfogler.com. And I think it's actually run by him because it's got a lot of personal stuff in it.
I'm going there. Maybe.
So he is a Tony Award winning actor.
I saw that. I thought that was super cool.
Yes, so we should probably always talk about him as Tony Award-winning actor Dan Fogler.
And a singer, apparently.
Yeah, he's got a couple of singing credits to him. So on his page, his webpage, it says his first television appearance was in 2002 on Fox's 30 Seconds to Fame as a contestant impersonating Al Pacino. But on his IMDb profile, he's got credits back to 2000. He's got a short in 1999 and one in 2000. And then he's got some stuff in 2000, 2002, 2005. I think his career really took off with a movie called Balls of Fury. Does it sound familiar?
Vaguely, but
I never saw it, but I know of it. It is a very quirky, silly movie about ping pong championships, ping pong playing.
Okay, it totally was not what I was thinking of then. Yeah,
no, and all of the characters are very big characters. They dress in funny costumes and just have big personalities. So then he voiced in Horton Hears the Who.
Mm-hmm, saw that.
and
And actually 2 different characters in Horton Hears a Who. 2 distinct characters they were saying.
Councilman and Yumo Wickersham. I never did see Horton Hears a Who. And I'm a Dr. Seuss fan.
I've got to be honest, I haven't either.
So,
read it long time ago.
Sneetches with stars on their bellies really resonated with me as a child. Do you remember what that one was about?
It's been so long.
Like, the regular Sneetches envied the Sneetches with stars on their bellies, and a man comes to town that will put stars on bellies. And so then the Sneetches with original stars on their bellies got them taken off. The man took them off because they weren't unique anymore. And so they just kept going round and round getting stars put on and taken off. And until they didn't know who really had stars and who didn't. And so they all became friends. There was no popular group anymore. And the man left town with all their money.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's a very good book to teach children, to not buy into fads and the popular kids and stuff, and just be themselves. So he was in that, and then he did a voice for Kung Fu Panda.
Mm-hmm.
And of course the follow-up second Kung Fu Panda. He was also in kind of another stupid comedy. And I say stupid comedies endearingly. Like, I don't think the movies are stupid. I think the humor is kind of, what am I trying to say? Juvenile?
Okay.
There you go. Juvenile. A movie called Fanboys. And these are all the ones that I recognize. He does voices for American Dad. Mars Needs Moms. That actually looks like a cute movie. He's done a lot of kids stuff, it looks like.
I thought so too.
Right up until his 3 episodes of the TV show Hannibal. And I don't remember him in it, but I only watched the first season. So he may not have been in the episodes that I have seen. So he's got a couple of credits for writing, directing, and producing. And one of them is a movie called Don Peyote. Another one that I've never seen, just not my style of humor. Although I kind of feel like it looks a little bit like The Big Lebowski.
It looks like he got a couple of awards for that as well.
Yes. Nominated and won a few awards for it. He has a couple movies that he's written, directed, produced, and acted in. Let's see. He was in Sharknado 5.
I saw that. That it's quite a step up to be in a Harry Potter film and to be on The Walking Dead from Sharknado 5.
Well, he played himself on Sharknado 5, so I think it was a tongue-in-cheek appearance. So yeah, he's been in quite a bit, and of course the biggest right now being Fantastic Beasts and its follow-up, The Crimes of Grindelwald. Yeah, so he plays Luke, and hopefully...
Who I really like. Luke is definitely becoming a favorite for me.
I love, so I kind of hope that they don't follow the storyline of the comic books, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So we were talking before the podcast, and right before we came on, I learned something about Dan that I am super duper excited about. So the reason why he was on the Bunny Ears podcast and he was going to a lot of the cons is because he is a comic book writer.
I think he mentioned that on Talking Dead. Or maybe he mentioned that in the interview that I watched.
He has 3 comic books coming out. One of them is not talked about in the Bunny Ears podcast, but he did talk about it on another interview. So the first one is Brooklyn Gladiator, set in 2033 in an oppressive consumeristic dystopia. Say that 5 times fast. And he kind of likens it to Mad Max or Escape from New York. So I'm like super interested in that. That sounds amazing. The second one is Moon Lake, which he calls his Twilight Zone on THC. So that'll be interesting. He said his influences were heavy metal, the book and the movie.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So that'll be super interesting. And then the third one, which isn't mentioned on the podcast, is called Fish Kill. And it's a modern noir. So he sounds super creative. And everything he described about his comic books, I'm super interested in. I'm like, I really want to go read these comic books.
Which episode of Bunny Ears is he on? Did you happen to catch which one?
Podcast episode 26, Dan Fogler Talks Comics. So, speaking of podcast, Dan Fogler has a podcast.
No way, really?
Really, really. It is Dan Fogler's 4D Experience, and 4D as in dog, and experience is spelled just capital X experience. Dan Fogler's 4D Experience.
Huh.
So that'll be one I will have to take a listen to. I have no idea what he talks about. Probably comics, probably movies, maybe. I don't know. Maybe a little sativa. Something.
I did see that he was interviewed by High Times.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you know, I don't know if he gets political on it. I don't know any of that stuff. I have not listened to it. Like I said, I just discovered this right before we came on air, which made me super excited.
He just seems like a really fascinating and funny person.
He does. And, you know, he is married with 2 children. And I'm just like, those kids don't even know how cool their dad is.
Depending on how old they are, they might be starting to get a hint. But, you know, because dad's in a Harry Potter movie.
Right? Unless they're one of those that, like, hates Harry Potter. But your dad writes comic books and talks about smoking pot and stuff.
And is on The Walking Dead.
Yeah, and it's on The Walking Dead. Your dad's cool.
I wanted to share a quote that was on his IMDb page because I thought it was really cool. He was talking about why he founded a theater company. And he said, when you have a foot up on the glacier, you have to turn around and give others a hand.
Yes.
And I really, really, really liked that a lot.
Yeah. I had to read that a couple of times because I'm like, wait, what about a glacier? So you can also catch him at Mr. Dan Fogler on Twitter and Dan Fogler on Instagram. His Twitter is a lot of his retweeting his work, responding to fans, things like that. Some cool pictures, but his Instagram is pretty awesome. He's got some really cool photos on his Instagram. And he even has a picture of himself in front of the Don't Open Dead Inside doors.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And it looks like he's done a couple of videos on his Instagram. So I would definitely check him out on Instagram. I think I will probably follow him.
I was going to say, I always end up when I am on recording with you following someone else on Instagram.
I know. Like, Instagram used to just be for the dogs that we fostered. And now I'm like, it's celebrities that I talk about.
Oh my God. His picture is a picture of him as Han Solo. That's hilarious.
I told you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome.
Very cool.
Oh, he has a picture. Oh, I wonder if, I think he looks like he may have interviewed Zoe Kravitz on his podcast. He's got a thing up about her.
Great. Another podcast too.
Hey, you have a long drive. You can do it.
Right? It's true.
I have a hard time listening to podcasts at work because I'm trying to federal financial reports. So I'm staring at reports and Excel spreadsheets all day and trying to do math. So sometimes it's a little hard to focus in on the podcasts, especially when they're super funny and engaging, like, My Favorite Murder or Ours or maybe Dan Fogler's.
I just liked and subscribed to his podcast, so we'll see what it's like.
All right, so that's Dan Fogler. Go check out his comic books. Go check out his podcast. Yeah. Hopefully Luke sticks around.
Yeah, give Luke some love because he's fun. He's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yep.
So, anything for Whisperer's Corner this week?
There was an article that was on CBR.com, comicbookreader.com, CBR.com.
Comicbookreader.com. Yeah.
The Walking Dead, Maggie may return in season 10.
Okay, there's been some teasing about that, so...
Yeah. And I think it's really just Angela Kang saying, hopefully Maggie's story will continue in season 10.
So, not much,
Nothing.
in other words.
Yeah, nothing definitive.
I didn't have anything for Whisperer's Corner. I watched a little teaser on YouTube where the person who has this particular YouTube channel suggests that maybe we'll see some interaction between Beta and Negan in the mid-season finale, but I don't think so. I think it's too soon. Yeah.
Yeah, not the mid-season finale. Maybe the season finale.
Yeah. I'm thinking much later in the season.
Because the next episode is the mid-season finale.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, no.
And then we have a break until what, February? That's usually how long the break is. I know, crazy. It's come up so fast, and it's because these episodes have been, by and large, so good.
Yeah.
So I have a quick thing for Groveler's Corner. I missed this last week. We had a writer from the UK named Mark Richard Wilson send us a brief note. He said, "Hi, it's another UK listener. You've name-checked me before. So glad the show and your show are back again. I just wanted to tell you that we get The Walking Dead on a Monday evening on Fox. Otherwise, we'd be seeing it before you with the time difference. Plus, Fear is on a minority channel, so we don't really get to see it over here."
Oh.
Yeah. And there's a little sad face. Which is too bad, because with the way that Fear has turned around, it would be really nice if they would be able to have easier access to it.
Yeah, I wonder if they have the AMC streaming thing yet. If they can get it from their IP addresses over there.
That's a good question. I mean, I guess I just never thought of a streaming service as not being completely available, but that's a really good question.
I have tried to get Channel 4 from the UK over on ours, but it's not available on our IP addresses.
Interesting.
So, use a VPN. I'm not really in Alaska.
There are a whole bunch of reasons we should be thinking about using VPNs.
Right?
Yeah.
They're watching you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that brings us to our goods, bads, and uglies. So I'm going to say go first. What was your good?
I really, really like Luke's speech about the how music brings us together, and it's what made us survive over the Neanderthals. And I think that ties in to the whole, everyone's talking about this festival to bring the communities back together. So I think maybe Luke will have maybe something to do with that and his music and all of his instruments. Because it seems like everyone wants this festival to happen. Everyone wants the communities to come back together, except for the person who seems to have the most say about it, which is Michonne. So
and she just happened to be there to hear his speech about how important music and art are.
Exactly. And, if she hadn't destroyed his Stradivarius, they may not have gotten the speech. So, maybe sacrificing a $15 million instrument. Yeah, I know, right? I looked it up. Like,
only not in the zombie apocalypse. It's not anything in the zombie apocalypse.
it was to him. It was priceless. Yeah, I was looking up at how much Stradivarius went for, Stradivarius violins in particular, and the last one I think was $15.9 million, and Sotheby's had one up with the starting bid of $45 million, but nobody bid at $45 million. So I'm glad to know that we don't spend obscene amount of monies on single instruments, maybe just like hordes of money. Like,
sure, yeah, that's totally affordable.
Right? 15 million. Like, I can't fathom that. Like, it's a violin. Like, I really don't think there's any one piece of anything, like moon rocks or like the car that JFK was assassinated. Nothing is worth $15 million. Like, not one thing.
Well, supposedly if you have an ear, they're amazing. They sound amazing.
Yeah, and I guess there's been all kinds of studies done on exactly what Stradivarius did to the wood and what woods were used and the thickness and the playing with the dimensions of the instrument and things like that. And so it kind of makes me think that he was like a mad genius. Like, he was just one of those people that have that ear, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And because it's never been duplicated. And arguably so. Like, a lot of people are like, no, modern instruments sound just as good, but maybe they're not hearing what he was hearing.
Oh, I definitely don't have the ears to hear it, but I believe truly that there are people out there who do, or people would not pay $15 million for a violin.
I think the fact that it is the Stradivarius name, and that it's like 300 years old. You know, this wood and catgut has survived 300 years.
I've got to have more faith in humanity. I've got to believe that it's more than just that.
Yeah. So yeah, I really like the speech, and I think it will tie into bringing the communities back together. That was my good.
Very good. Well,
what was your good?
Mine was that I loved seeing Jesus and Aaron sparring.
I loved that. So are we calling them Jaren or Azus?
Or what?
Or Azus?
I like Jaren better.
Jaren, yeah. I'm totally shipping them. They're adorable.
I think the thing that I loved about it so much is it's so rare in the show to see something that's just totally exuberant and joyful like that, that I really appreciated that they just sparred out of fun and with complete abandon, and it truly was a rare, joyful moment in an otherwise often dark series.
Yeah, I love the way that Aaron sprung out at him and just knocked him off his thing. So, I mean, it was like seeing two like baby tigers sparring. You know, it was adorable. Yeah, I agree, and I still am loving Aaron's metal arm,
his Infinity Gauntlet.
Yes. Oh, that is such a good imagery.
Oh, I totally stole it from somebody else. I totally can't take credit for it, but I thought, oh, that is totally accurate.
And of course, now we know why his arm was amputated below the elbow, which is uncommon, is so that like he would have full use of the arm. You know, he could bend at the elbow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's much easier on production, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
But yeah, it looks really cool. I can't imagine the smithy that made that for him. That's a amazing piece of work. It's the Stradivarius of arms. Oh.
Well, so what about your bad? Do you have any bad?
Mine was kind of a minor bad. It was kind of, I kind of had a tough time finding a real bad about the episode, but when they went to fight the walkers, the group that wound up being their friend Bernie was in it. Michonne was she didn't want to give the weapons back. And like, there's 5 people that are just sitting ducks unless they have weapons. You either give them weapons and they can help you take care of the zombie horde that's closing in on you, and maybe they'll kill you, maybe they'll kill a zombie that's gonna kill you, but otherwise you just have to rescue them. It's more trouble than it's worth not to give them their weapons in that moment. You can disarm them again later. And then when they all saw Bernie and, he shambles forward, it's just all of a sudden the fight stops. Like, there's no impending threat anymore. Like, all the other zombies are just sort of gathering on the outskirts of, where they are and not really closing in on them anymore. They took a lot of time, and I was like, it just took me out of the moment, that I'm like, that wouldn't really happen. You would have to just, take care of your friend and move on and continue to fight. Otherwise, those zombies are going to build up around you and you're not going to get out of there. They took way too long with that scene. I think in real life, it wouldn't happen that way. And I get that they did it because it was a moment. It was their friend. They had to show the audience the emotion, that came with losing one of their compatriots.
I was a little bit taken aback by how emotional Magna was.
I thought that too. But we got that whole buildup of how that guy irritated Magna.
Right, and got under her skin, and they became friends. And yeah. So,
I think, like I said, I think Magna cares a lot for her people and just her people. So, I was taken out of the moment a little bit, and it kind of irked me. So that was my bad.
Well,
what was yours?
I have 2 bads, and they're both kind of small, but, well, actually one of them is kind of small and one of them is bigger. So the first was that I don't care how much Jesus was enjoying Georgie's record collection. I thought that song was totally out of place. It was really dissonant and really jarring, and I just thought that it was completely out of place in a Walking Dead episode.
That's super interesting. I read an article that said that they loved it because it was kind of like, it was something you don't normally hear in The Walking Dead, and it sort of goes into this is The Walking Dead 2.0, The Walking Dead after Rick.
Isn't that funny? It totally, just like the fight with, and the moment with Bernie showing up took you out of the moment, that music totally took me out of the moment.
Huh. I like how they blended it, that it was like, the music started playing, and then all of a sudden you realize it's a record that Jesus is playing.
I do have to say that. I mean, that at least explained it a little bit, and I was like, oh, okay, I see where it's coming from, but I still didn't like it.
Huh. I actually did. I was okay with it. I actually liked the song, so...
Child of the 80s.
Yeah. Kind of. It's because I was a young child in the 80s, but I had older siblings, so I listened to the same music. I get all the references.
I totally didn't recognize it, and I didn't care enough to seek it out.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So my other one was bigger, and it was, yes, Maggie is with Georgie, which is exactly where we thought she was going to be, but I was kind of ticked off that they just were so easily able to write Lauren Cohen out of the series.
Yeah.
It was really disappointing. I mean, I recognize that her character is not going to get the send-off that Rick got. I recognize that the actress is not going to get the send-off that Andy Lincoln got, but it really kind of made me mad.
Yeah, and we haven't even seen her on The Talking Dead or anything. Because normally we get the whole, how was your last day on set? And, blah, blah, blah. We haven't gotten any of that. I mean, I realize it might not be her last day on set, but I don't know. I just think that it's too unceremonious.
It made me wonder how much of it is stemming from the bad feelings around her contract negotiations.
I think so. I read something that sort of alluded to that.
It's very disappointing.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I absolutely agree with that bad.
That was definitely my big bad.
So the song was April Skies by Mary Chain.
Probably Jesus and Mary Chain.
Oh, yep. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
By Jesus and Mary Chain.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Didn't do anything for me.
That's funny.
So what about you? What was your ugly?
So my ugly is when they, our newcomers finally got their weapons. I loved the slingshots.
Oh, yeah. They were really cool.
Mine was a good ugly. What a great tool. What a great weapon in these zombie apocalypse. Because you could just pick up rocks and sling them.
Yeah, you don't really need any particular thing to make your ammo for your weapon.
No. Your ammo is all over the place. So, I mean, we've always talked about having, basically Morgan's walking stick with a pokey end to poke zombies in the head at a distance, or, bow and arrows. You can always make more arrows because, of course, we're even if we have a munitions factory, we are going to run out of bullets and powder and things like that. So just a slingshot, I never thought of that. And they're deadly accurate. And there was an article that was like, I guess I'll just have to take it on their word that, a projectile from a slingshot would go through a walker skull. And I'm like, we've had so many other minor things go through walker skulls and kill them. Of course, a rock being shot out of a slingshot at like 90 miles an hour is going to go through a walker's head. My concern it would go straight through the walker's head and like hit somebody else behind.
Right.
Like, line up your shot. But yeah, I absolutely loved that they had slingshots, and that's their weapon of choice, and they're deadly accurate. So that was my good ugly.
That was a really good ugly. I agree.
What was yours?
Well, mine we already talked about. It was Luke, which I just really liked his. I also really liked his speech about how art is what brought us together and helped us triumph over the Neanderthals 40,000 years ago. And I agree with you. I think that his speech is going to be part of what gets Michonne to agree to attend the fair. Yeah.
Music equals community equals survival.
And I think, he wasn't just my good ugly because of that speech, but also because of his performance last week in front of the council. I mentioned it and I'll say it again. I really, really like the way that he talked about himself and talked about the group in front of the council. So I just think that he is evolving to be a really great character.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Where do you think they will settle? Do you think they'll settle in Hilltop, or do you think they'll get put back in Alexandria?
I think they'll settle in Hilltop because I think that even if Alexandria invites them back, there may be enough bad blood with Michonne that they stay at Hilltop instead. And I think Jesus will be very welcoming.
Yeah, I could see that.
Which will be a change from the comics.
I kind of hope they do change from the comics, knowing what I know about their story arc. Because I wikied it, not because I've read the comics.
So, not to get spoilery, and please fast forward for like a minute if you don't want to be spoiled. But my recollection is that it's a fairly brief arc.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that's not the case for these characters because I'm really liking these characters a lot.
Yes. So we have gone way off reservation from the books. So I hope this follows that and that he becomes such a beloved character that he sticks around.
I think there's the potential that all of them could become such beloved characters, you know?
Yeah, they are great actors and actresses. I don't think I have any bad thing to say about any of them. I think Magna is going to have the biggest growth as a character because she seems a little feral at this point, and she's going to have to learn to live in a society.
Oh, and we do have it confirmed, I think at least, that she and Yumiko are a couple.
Right. I think they are, and I think that has been alluded to on the show. And then I love Connie and Kelly, and I don't think you could have one without the other. And it's not just because Kelly signs and interprets for Connie, but just that, like, they're a duo, you know? They both have the slingshots. They're sisters, you know? So I really hope they stick around. And then, of course, Luke.
Yeah. Great set of characters.
Speaking of which, we have talked quite at length about how the group could have learned sign language to speak to Connie, and turns out they have.
Yeah. In fact, I was going to point that out to you, that they actually had that moment in the back of the wagon where they kind of kept their conversation to themselves by signing it.
Exactly. And I was thinking, not just to communicate with Connie, that would be one of the best, unless of course your hands were tied, but that would be one of the best ways to talk without other people knowing what you're saying, unless they also spoke ASL.
Well, even that little moment when Connie saves Luke and he signs thank you to her, that was so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that they all speak sign language.
Yeah.
Every time I see it, I'm like, that is so cool. I really need to learn it. And there's a program here in Juneau that will teach it to you, Southeast Independent Living. So I really need to take a class.
There you go, with all your spare time.
I could probably learn it on YouTube. I'm sure there are tutorials on YouTube.
I think a class would make you more fluent.
Probably.
So I think we're deeply into rotting potpourri now.
I think so too.
We're kicking it off the bottom of our shoes.
So what you got?
So let me look. So the cold open, I loved the cold open, and even though it was like the shortest cold open in Walking Dead history, I really thought Rosita was done for.
Oh, me too. I was like, oh my God, we're losing Rosita.
Yeah, I thought, this is it. She's going to be in the Talking Dead's in memoriam.
Yeah, like a short cold open, but plenty of anxiety to hold me over for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, it was really creepy, and I thought Michael Cudlitz did a really good job making it really creepy.
And of course, even after she was saved, I'm like, I had anxiety about Eugene.
Yeah.
And of course, we see, the trailer for the next episode that he is found. I mean, I don't know if he's rescued because they don't show that. They show, we got to get out of here. So, yeah, I don't want to lose either of them right now. It's too soon.
So the other thing I have is, did you notice the little C. Thomas Howell cameo?
Yes. And I actually I didn't believe it. The other half pointed it out, and I was like, no way.
So I saw his name in the credits, and I was like, what? The C. Thomas Howell? Really? Seriously? And then I didn't know until they talked about it on Talking Dead who it actually was. I missed it.
Oh, that's funny. So yeah, I have to go find it. What I know him from most is the movie The Outsiders.
Right, totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not alone on that one.
Oh yeah, that was his big breakout.
Well, so I moved schools between 6th and 7th grade, and I think it was 7th grade. And we had to read The Outsiders in 6th grade, and then I had to read it again in 7th grade at the new school. And then I moved back to the school that I went to 6th grade in, and the 7th grade class was reading it. So I read Outsiders 3 times in 2 years. And of course, every time you read The Outsiders in school, they show you the movie. And so that book and movie are just ingrained into my childhood memory. So yes, I'm shocked that I did not recognize C. Thomas Howell.
Well, so did you catch what Michael Cudlitz said about how basically they're friends and they needed an actor who could safely ride a horse? And he was like, let me just give my buddy a call.
Yes, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things you wouldn't know, wouldn't think about. Like, you just always assume that we need people to ride horses. We'll just like teach the actors how to ride horses. No, there's actually actors who know how to ride horses.
Well, and they need extras and stunt doubles. And so it was very, very cool to give C. Thomas Howell just that little moment, you know?
You know, and he's only got the one credit. But hopefully maybe he'll return as a Hilltopper. You know, he looks like his IMDb looks like he's pretty busy, but you never know.
Apparently he said to Cudlitz, well, do I get killed? No. Okay, fine. Then that means I can come back if I want to.
Oh, that's so cool. I missed that.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. God, that's so awesome. Just to have some random like extra be kind of, I think of him as a big actor.
Yeah, I mean, he's still a big deal.
He certainly works plenty. He's got like 4 or 5 things in completion. So, yeah. Cool.
So how long do you think it's been since Michonne's been to Hilltop? I mean, how long do you think Maggie's been gone? I got the feeling it's been a long time.
Yeah, she didn't even know Maggie was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, and I really... I'm dying to know what went down these 6 years to make Michonne so averted to going to Hilltop because she thought it was going to cause Maggie just seeing her was going to cause drama. And does it have anything to do with all of those X marks the spot scars?
Okay, I have to say thank you to Dianne LaSorsa for bringing that up because I was not paying close attention and missed that I wasn't paying attention to Norman Reedus taking off his shirt, so I totally missed that he had those scars, and they're the same scars that Michonne has on her back.
Okay, so...
Except he's got 2 X's instead of 1.
He does, and he has some multiple scratches, too. But did you notice the location of the scars that Michonne and Daryl have?
Well, they are left lower posterior.
What else was left lower posterior?
They're a little too low for kidney.
Yeah, but it's sort of reminiscent of Rick's wound.
Oh, yeah, where he got hit by the rebar.
Yeah, it's weird that they're both lower left. You know?
The other thing that's weird is that it's like 2 of our strongest characters and they have these scars.
And they both are very mentally scarred.
Yeah.
I mean... Daryl living out away from everybody else and not taking care of himself. And then Michonne is just like she's compartmentalized to the point that she barely speaks to anyone but Judith.
And what did you think about his confession that he actually had been spending time looking for Rick?
I kind of loved it. Like it made my heart hurt a little. And I was like, that's legit. Like, that's his brother, you know? I mean, that's more of his brother than Merle ever was, and look how much he looked for Merle, you know? Yeah, that one hit hard.
So I think he's been out in the wilderness this whole time, and I think that Michonne has not been back to Hilltop since Rick's, in their thought, death.
Right.
I think it's been that long.
Yeah. I'm really interested to find out what went on with those 2, Maggie and Michonne, that Maggie left Hilltop and Michonne, I mean, the communities don't even speak. I mean, Aaron and Jesus were basically sneaking away to talk to each other.
Right, and then talking about how they would have their chops totally busted if people knew.
Yeah, and Tara calls him on it, and he's like, you know, she's like, why are you doing that? And he's like, to keep the lines of communication open.
Mm-hmm. And to
know that
try to
they're
get
alive.
people to come to the fair, to try to make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I can't even fathom what their fight was over, because when we last left them, like, they had a moment about Negan, and, Maggie didn't kill him and handed the keys or whatever back to Michonne, and they kind of had a moment. And so what could have happened after that? And does it have anything to do with the scars?
I don't know. I think we're going
Yeah,
to get a lot in the second half of the season.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good.
Yeah. So, holy crap, Hilltop is thriving without Maggie. I mean, I'm sure it's because of Maggie, but wow. Right?
Right.
All those crops and the dude doing laundry on the pedal bike, and Tara walking around taking, inventory of everyone's wants and needs and requests and everything, and being Jesus's right hand, and
Dr.
elections
Enid.
and Dr. Enid. Yeah. Like, so much so Dr. Enid that, like, Sadiq could just leave on a whim.
Well, it sounds like Sadiq is living at Alexandria now.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, he's actually been living at Alexandria the whole time. But so much so that he doesn't feel like he needs to kind of stay over Enid.
Yeah, but he definitely goes to and from Hilltop because he knew about Maggie and that Jesus was in charge, and so the lines of communication are open there.
And I think they're going to open back up.
Definitely.
I mean, I think that Rosita's injury is going to be the thing that makes Michonne start talking again.
Well, and now we have Kingdomers in Hilltop too, so everyone's coming together.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Henry and Carol and Daryl. So yeah, I think Rosita's injury is going to be and I'm missing Eugene is going to be the uniter at this point.
I'm happy that Daryl came in out of the woods.
Yes, and I was happy to see him happy, like giving Aaron a hug, and
mm-hmm.
yeah, that was good. And I told you his hair was being cut by a boat. I'm like Walking Dead psychic.
His hair, dear God.
Yeah, it's something else.
He needs to sit down with a barber, and Carol needs to sit down with a stylist.
Right? Or get some conditioner.
I
could totally see her with dreads.
Oh, that would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Let's see. Dog the dog.
Right. Oh, I love Dog the dog.
I love that he has been trained to go and fetch parts of the walkers that are in traps so that Daryl knows that there's a walker in a trap.
I totally did not get that was why he was doing that.
Yeah, every time he comes back with like a hand or a foot, he knows, like, Daryl knows that he needs to go take care of a walker in one of his traps.
I totally did. I missed that completely. I feel so stupid.
Yeah, and the traps aren't for animals because he wouldn't want an animal to die that way.
Right. But
do we really think Dog the dog got into a double noose situation? Do we really think? I think somebody tied him out like that because he was tied two ways. I could see him springing one trap, but to have it two of them like that, I can't imagine. I think somebody did that to Dog to, I don't know, test Daryl or maybe lure him into trap, but they noticed that Carol was kind of standing watch over them without them knowing and decided not to act on their trap.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, that, like, the dog has been able to avoid all of the traps thus far. I can't imagine that he would spring two of them randomly while Carol and Henry are there.
It could have been a whisperer.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I think that they were trying to set Daryl up, and Henry was there, and then we noticed Carol is actually watching over both of them, making sure they're okay. So, yeah.
But she slept just fine.
Yep. And then she takes Henry into Hilltop the next day, and I love their little conversation. He's like, so do you think Enid is here?
I didn't catch what he said, so I'm glad that you clarified that. So it was Enid he was asking after.
Yeah, he's like,
okay.
So do you think that Enid's still here? Or,
okay.
Enid's still here, isn't she? And Carol said something.
She said, you're adorable.
And he's like, no, I'm not, unless Enid likes adorable. Yeah. So I think he's a little young for her, because supposedly Enid was Carl's age, and there was kind of a gap between Carl and Henry, because Henry was like 8 or something, and Carl was like 14 or, yeah. So I think Enid, maybe the older mature woman, maybe, she'll take an interest to him, but.
It is the zombie apocalypse after all.
I think he's going to try too hard. And besides, who is not crushing on Sadiq at this point? Wow.
Not me.
Really?
Really?
Oh, I love the facial hair. I love his hair. I love his facial hair. Yeah.
Huh.
I'm definitely, since Daryl won't bathe and Jesus and Aaron are more into each other, yeah, Sadiq is my age appropriate crush on the show.
That is really funny.
You can keep your king. I'll take Sadiq.
Okay, it's a deal.
Unless Daryl starts bathing.
Then it's a fight. Fight on. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Well, anything else in your writing potpourri?
I think that was just about it. I thought Rosita's flare was kind of a risky distress call, because I would think walkers would be attracted to that. She took a big risk by putting that flare up and hoping that somebody would see it, and just so happened that Aaron and Jesus were in a random area close to her. She wasn't near anything. And so that could have brought the walkers, and with them the whisperers, to her.
Totally influenced by Walking Dead Our World.
Right? Oh, I love that game.
Ugh.
And did you see that they finally plugged it on Talking Dead?
I did.
Yeah. I never used the VR thing.
Me either. The augmented reality, no.
No. But yeah, that was super. I mean, I guess it was either that or die.
I think she was pretty desperate.
That was her last stand. So, I mean, I get it, but it was a risky move. Good thing it paid off for her, because I don't want to lose Rosita. I like Rosita.
I do too.
Yeah.
I was listening to another podcast today, and the female host was like, meh, Rosita, nah. I don't feel that way. I like Rosita.
Yeah, I actually kind of think we don't see enough Rosita.
Father Gabriel does.
Oh, what did somebody say that, was it on Talking Dead that they were like, apparently dating Father Gabriel is as bad as being the moral compass on the show?
Oh, God, that's really funny.
Yeah. That's so true.
Because it's really funny.
As the organ player at his church, probably, maybe, I don't know. And then, Jadis up and disappears. That I'm sure they probably think that she's dead. But of course he knows that she left. And now Rosita nearly dies. Yeah, I don't think I would be dating Father Gabriel.
Yeah, I don't think I would either, but it goes back to the hat.
Yeah.
I can't hold his creepy eye against him. People have injuries all the time, but that plus the hat.
Yeah. Yeah, you can have one or the other,
But not both. I agree. I agree.
And there's not much you can do about the creepy eye, so burn the hat.
Well, I did have some quick feedback from Dianne LaSorsa.
Yes.
She said, Daryl got a dog and a little haircut. Woohoo! I really like this episode. A little slow, but Michael Cudlitz did a great job. I really like that they're starting some interesting storylines and building some suspense. Definitely needed that. Looking forward to next week. Love the new characters. Interested in your thoughts on the exes. Almost looks like they were branded.
I would have said Michonne's looks like a brand. Daryl's still, they're still pink.
I think Daryl's definitely look like scars. Michonne's look like a brand, but she may be someone who has what's called keloid scarring.
Yeah. Keloids, yeah. I have some surgical scars that have keloid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I wanted to say is that Tom O'Mara got a new microphone. So the next time he joins us, he will be clearer. And he had an appearance this week on Stinger TV and Movie Podcast, talking about The Walking Dead. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, definitely plug that.
Yeah.
For Tom.
They don't focus exclusively on Walking Dead, but this was a Walking Dead episode. So if people are interested in just a new, well, probably not new to them, but new to us, TV and movie podcast, check out Stinger. I listened to it today and it was good.
Yeah, and even if you just do the one-off with Thomas O'Mara, he always has good input and insight on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, was there anything else?
I think that's about it. Okay.
So, for feedback, you can go to facebook.com/biterspodcast. You can email us at biterspodcast@gmail.com. Apparently, we have an Instagram. Did you know this?
Apparently, we do. I did not.
Okay. Rob started us an Instagram, instagram.com/biterspodcast.
Have you followed us on Instagram?
I'm going to. southgatemediagroup.com, /Nuff Said podcast. And you can support the network by going to patreon.com/southgatemediagroup and get a t-shirt or get yourself a t-shirt on TeePublic.
Yes, definitely get one of the t-shirts. But remember, make sure to order a couple of sizes larger than what you normally wear.
Yeah.
Because they run small, but they're great shirts.
Yeah. So wherever you listen to us on podcasts, like, rate, subscribe, share, give us a rating, whatever. It always helps us out. I'm listening to a lot of podcasts now, and they always plug their stuff, and I'm like, we always forget to do that.
You're much better at it than I am.
I have the stuff pulled up. Thanks. Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter at biterspodcast.com too. So that is all I had this week.
Well,
next week looks amazing.
Yes, it's going to be a good episode.
We know what that means, evolution. But until then,
just remember, take it one dead day at a time. Again, we ended together.
All right, everybody. Have a good week. Happy Thanksgiving.
I agree. Stuff yourself silly on Thursday. And to our UK folks, have some turkey.
Yeah. And don't talk politics with your family.
Right. Just eat turkey.
Something else.
Talk about pie.
Talk about The Walking Dead.
There you go. All right.
Relatives about the show.
Including our show. Listen to Biters on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. It is a PG-13-ish podcast. Yeah. So we're fun for the whole family.
So everybody have a great week, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.